14 states plus the District of Columbia have made same-sex marriage legal. 35 states have banned it. New Mexico is unique in being the only state that does not have a law or constitutional amendment either authorizing or forbidding marriage between same-sex couples. I find that so interesting. Now, last week, 5 New Mexico Supreme Court justices heard over 2 hours of oral argument on the state's ambiguous marriage laws we just spoke about. It could be soon or it could be several months before the Supreme Court issues a decision on whether or not the state must recognize same-sex marriage. And Antoinette, once the court rules, will that be the definitive answer? And I want to peel back and talk about some of the arguments, but let's just kind of settle that first.
Yeah, well, it depends on what they rule.
Okay.
If they rule that the Constitution requires the extension of same-sex marriage to same-sex couples, it's over.
Right.
Well, it'll happen whenever they order it to happen. Now, it could be that legislators would try to pass a constitutional amendment or get it on the ballot, in which case then you'd have yet another constitutional question. But it would be quick. If the Supreme Court decides not to rule that way, then one way they could do it is just pivot it or push it to the legislature.
Right.
And then the legislature could pass something. They've been a long, long time failing to pass anything on domestic partnership. That's why we're in this fix.
Right.
Either way, they just didn't do anything for years. So I don't anticipate that they're in the place of being able to pass something.
There's an interesting question. It was Justice Chavez who asked, "Why are you asking us?" Basically, why have you brought it to us?
Why isn't this public policy?
Right. Why didn't this go to the legislature? You asked Maureen Sanders that question.
And the response was,
They haven't done
been
anything.
able to do anything.
They haven't done
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
But on Antoinette's point, if they are forced to do so, we're not going to guess for the legislature, it's about the Supreme Court. Does it serve the court better to come out with a ruling on this, just get it out of their hair, or do you just punt and just let it go to the?
I don't think that the Supreme Court ever just punts.
Right.
That's kind of not how that's not their deal. That's not quite how it works. But it seems to me that if they issue a ruling, it will be because they have decided this is the right time. These are the right people to bring this question before the court. This is a decision that needs to be made. And I thought that it was particularly interesting to see the clerks of New Mexico come before the court and say, no, really, we need this answer too. I thought that was a particularly compelling reason. And that is largely, I think, why it came before the court at this time, that plea.
It's interesting, whenever these things start, you have a chance to catch a live stream. It's very exciting. It reminds you back in California when they live streamed their big to-do. And as a non-attorney, Tracy, I was like, after about a half an hour in, I was like, okay, I don't think I get much of this, but I'm listening anyway.
Insider baseball.
Exactly. And that's cool. But the idea that, to argue these kind of things before Supreme Court was somewhat galling for some folks because it was almost like a personal affront. Like, I want to marry this person. Yeah. Why does it have to get this far? Yeah. But it has, and here we are now. Do you anticipate that we're going to have some finality here, or is it just going to keep poking along at some level at some point now that we've gone through this?
Well, I think we've kind of reached critical mass society-wise anyway.
Right.
And I think, the legal community is scrambling to keep up right now. And I think, we've talked about this before, once the cat is out of the bag, I mean, we've got all these married couples walking around here.
Sure.
And we've got, and more importantly, I think we've got married couples in some counties of New Mexico, and then people who want to do the same in other counties who aren't allowed to. And like you said, the county clerks are begging for a decision.
Sure.
Yeah, either way.
Absolutely. Let me swing Dan in here. We're a little tight on time on this one. Did you hear anything in those arguments that made you think there's decision's going to happen either way? Any clues that you heard from our?
Well, I think if I was a betting man, the line in Vegas says that the Supreme Court's going to rule in favor of same-sex marriage. I was a little taken aback by some of the questions by the justices. I thought they had more of a political tone, like tell me about outcomes amongst gay parents, things that I don't think, that's not what this is about. This is, take the issue off, the name of the issue. I don't think it's the Supreme Court justice's job to be a mini legislature. If the legislature is not acting, there's a reason. We have things called elections. You elect those people. I think that this is my frustration with our Supreme Court and the judicial system, is that it's becoming a mini legislature. People are using it to address political issues, instead of the question should be, what does the law say? If the law is not clear, then you should make the law clear, is my opinion.
Yeah, this is equal protection. It's
Yeah,
a legal issue.
yeah.
It's a legal
Okay.
And also, I think the social issues come in when you have foes of same-sex marriage coming in and saying things like, "Oh, marriage is for procreation only," and "Oh, marriage, if you raise a child in a home with two gay parents, this and this and this is going to happen, and it's
Right,
bad."
right.
I think that's why people are talking about.
You could almost
social
feel
issues.
that bit coming. It was almost like we had to cross that river to get to the other side. It just
Across
it's
that river
part of it.
25
yeah.
years ago. The question is, why is New Mexico not passing the law? And I don't believe the legislature should be punting.
Okay.
I think that it should be done legislatively, not judicially.
Fair enough. There's two sides to this, absolutely.